your host, Johnny, resident strength and conditioning coach who also likes sports, specifically basketball, but I check in with other sports too. Okay, so I'm coming back from work right now. Um, I am headed home first to grab some things for my kids, and then also to grab some food, and then I have to go do some strength and conditioning at the local high school. So you're gonna come in, take a trip with me. So that's what we're doing today. Well, you won't come into the high school or to my house, but you know what I mean. Okay, so I had this morning. I had how many clients? Started at 6. I finished at about 9:15, give or take. On my way home. Any thoughts for today? Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. So, one, first and foremost, muscle does not weigh more than fat. 1 pound of muscle does not weigh more than 1 pound of fat. If I hear more people say that, I'm going to start pulling other people's hair out because I don't have that much to pull out anymore. Think about what you're saying. Muscle, 1 pound of it weighs more than 1 pound of fat, or 1 pound of fat, or 1 pound of something else. What muscle is dense. Fat is porous, takes up more space. So that's the difference between the two. But I got into this conversation happened before when I was in college too. But yeah, no, muscle does not weigh more than fat. It's just a very strange statement to make because you have to quantify. What do you mean by that? What do you mean by way more? 1 pound of fat weighs the same as 1 pound of muscle? No. The, the answer is in the statement. But yeah, I had somebody talk to me. The nutritionist said this. This made no sense. The person that they were consulting for nutrition was saying this. This person I had to consult with yesterday. I was like, yeah, that's not true. That's absolutely not true. Now, you could say, because it's one of those really misleading statements, it's like, okay, I mean, I suppose if I were to say muscle is more porous, I mean, now I'm mistaken it. If I were to say muscle was more dense and tightly packed than fat, then you could argue if we're talking about taking a cross section of muscle and a cross section of fat and then weighing the two. Yeah, I suppose so. But it's very misleading to say that, especially when people attach a weight to it, right? This amount of fat, this amount of muscle. It's like this. What There's another question, very similar. It was, what weighs more, a pound of bricks or a pound of feathers? They're both a pound. Why, why would why would one weigh more than the other? If one if they're both 1 pound, why would one weigh more than the other one? This is one of those like very it's when you think about it, it makes perfect sense, but sometimes people reflexively say it and they reflexively answer. And then you come up with people saying, "Oh my gosh, stones are definitely heavier than feathers." Yeah, in general, yeah. But if we attach a weight to it, if we attach an amount to it, then the conversation changes a little bit. The outcome changes a little bit. And so, what I want people to take from that is you need to talk to some people that know what they're talking about. And they won't say things that are wildly misleading because that was a very misleading thing to say. Very much so. Oh, also, this person said, this nutritionist said, okay, the person I was consulting said that they wanted to lose weight, right? The goal was to lose weight. They had a lot of injuries, a whole bunch of them, a lot of back injuries, but wanted to get stronger, specifically for the lower body, um, and wanted to lose some fat. I'm assuming fat in the midsection. I don't want to say too much about them personally, but they wanted to lose weight in the midsection, and so that was a goal. And the nutritional consultant, I don't even know if this person has a degree or a certification. I didn't really want to get into that because sometimes when you start chopping down people that they listen to, people get really offended by it. So I try to stay away from that. But this individual told the person I was consulting, so I say, let me get this straight. You're telling me that this person that you want, this is me thinking out loud in response to the nutritional consultant that's working with the person that I'm consulting with right now. Let me get this right. You want this person who's eating this amount, consuming this amount of food, right? This amount of macronutrients to eat more as they start to work out. Now, so they want to lose weight, and as they start to work out, you want them to consume more. Walk me through that, please. Help me understand why you want them to eat more, consume more food while they start working out. I'm not understanding it. Now, you could say, you could argue, and maybe I'm wrong to jump the gun. Maybe this person said, because this is all secondhand information, maybe if I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt, they're saying consume more protein. Okay, I, I can see where you might go, okay, this makes sense. But my other question would be, are we adding to the current composition of calories in energy sources? Or are we changing the composition of the nutrients? Are we, instead of doing carbohydrates, we're shifting those calories over to protein? That's the question that I wish I could have had answered. I didn't ask that question because, again, I don't like having or asking piercing questions in the consultation process like that because then it makes the person sometimes get defensive. The goal is to have a conversation with them to help them out, not to cut down the person that they value their information. And so I didn't do it. I didn't do it. But yeah, it did make a ton of sense to me. I was trying to understand it, and I couldn't understand it, honestly. Yeah. So that was my experience, dealing with the consultant as a consultant, because obviously we're always measuring ourselves against the person that is. I don't know. Like I try to do it less and less now, but you also just kind of can't help but say, all right, does this person know more than I know? Does this person know something that I don't know? Obviously, you want to stay on top of as much information as possible. You want to know as much as you can. So I don't know. There was a moment where I was like, maybe I don't know. Maybe the science has changed a little bit. I don't know. Maybe it's possible. But yeah, so that was on my mind today. I had to deal with that yesterday, but it was on my mind today. And then also the idea of I had a person that came in today in the morning, and they were dealing with some hip issues. Now, and I had another person yesterday too that was dealing with back pain. And so here's my gripe with people who like to be very active. Think about it this way, and it's just me observing. Okay, let's just quantify it. If you are in a job in which you sit down for work, right? Sit down or you stand in place for a while. Okay, you're doing that job, I would assume, at least most days of the week. Let's just say for the average person, and maybe this might not be the average, but let's just say that a person is working 5 days a week. Okay? Working 5 days a week. Work with hip issues, back issues. Working 5 days a week. They've got this pain. It's already there. Pain's bothering them. It's nagging them to the point where they need to fix it. Cool. All right. So I have this guy come in. He's got that situation going. He's working out 2 days a week. 1 day with me, 1 day with another trainer. Cool. All right. Got it. Now that. I say, hey, Ed, are you working on core strength? Are you improving your flexibility? Are you strengthening the antagonist muscle groups? The muscle groups that are small that don't get utilized, when you go through your daily activities. Oh, that's why I come here with you guys. I'm like, okay, fair point to a degree. However, you're working out with us 2 days a week. You are walking most days of the week, 3 to 4 times a week. Cool exercise, tight muscles, tight motions. Usually ends up affecting or negatively impacting the back and flexibility. All right, you walk a lot, do some form of cardio. All right. On top of that, works 5 days a week. So you mean to tell me that 2 days a week of training is going to correct 5 days worth of damage? Let's just call it what it is. 5 days worth of damage, and you're working 6 to 8 hours, sitting on your butt, 6 to 8 hours. So you have to overcome that, and you have to overcome the fact that you like to walk a lot or do cardio, which is going to tighten up the muscles too, leading to inflexibility. Also, exacerbating the fact that you have a back pain because you may be arching your back while you're doing your cardio too. You may have an anterior pelvic tilt while you're doing the cardio. You're doing that 5 days a week for an excess of 7 to 8 hours, and you're going to correct that 2 days a week for 45 minutes. 2 days a week. Nothing else. Come on, this has got to make sense, guys. This is the reason why people get hurt. They think you can correct things in a short amount of time. You can't correct it like that. You have to be more routine about it. Think about it. I've had to deal with people like this. I've had to deal with people like this. You get hurt. What happens when you get hurt? Okay, it's preventable, but let's get past that. When you go to a physical therapist, what are you doing? You're doing core work. What else are you doing? You're doing flexibility work. How often are you doing it? Most days of the week. I'd say at minimum you're doing it 3 days a week, if not every single day. I've seen this play out for almost 20 years. I've seen this play out this way. Every type of injury, ACL, you got to maintain strength, right? You're moving small movements, very slow, very targeted, isometric work, stretching. That's what you're doing. But somehow, pre-injury, people want to not. They don't want to do that. We got to we got to change our approach to that. And so this is one guy, and then I had a lady in the morning. she started correcting the issues. This was happening. She's doing not stretching. The physical therapist said no stretching. We're just going to work on mobility. We're just going to start to utilize those muscles that don't get used when you do your running, when you do your golfing, when you're sitting down at work all day. We're just going to strengthen those muscles that don't get used. And she's seeing improvement. Between 2 weeks, she's seeing improvement. And she does it every day. Not a lot. It's probably about 10 to 15 minutes worth of work. And she's feeling better. So it's not hard to overcome a back injury, depending on what it is, like what the nature of it is, right? We gotta be reasonable about this, right? But if it's something having to do with posture, overuse, if you got a bulging disc, you've got more issues there. But if we're talking about just like pain that can be reversed, it doesn't take a lot. Some people think they need to work out 6 hours a week, or 6 hours, yeah, 6 hours a week. No. Some people think they need to be in the gym for 2 hours at a time. No. Sometimes people think you need a lot of equipment. No, you don't need a lot of equipment. It's not a necessity. You just got to be intentional. You have to do some of the exercises that you think are boring. I didn't want to. I hate doing the interior pelvic tilt to keep my spine and my pelvis in neutral alignment. I hate it, but I do it because it feels better on my hip. It feels better on my back. You have to be mindful of these things. You have to be mindful of those things when you're doing workouts too. It's the biggest culprit. This is why like exercise classes are not always great. You need to have proper technique because if you perform an exercise with improper technique for long periods of time, injuries usually ensue. They usually pop up when you least suspect it. And then you blame the thing that you did before it, which is not the reason why it happened. This has been on the path of that injury. You just didn't know it. But I'm gonna get out of here. But I figured I'd share that because I don't want people to get hurt. I want athletes and regular folk like me to get through workouts and to see some level of progress and to correct the, the myths that we have in our minds about what exercise is supposed to be. The ultimate goal of exercise is for it to make you better. Better meaning recover from an injury, better meaning your performance level in a specific activity or skill improves. That's the goal of exercise. And I want to help people do that. One way to do that is to plan your workouts. That way you know where the volume, where the amount of exercise is going, where the stress is going to be in your body. And you can predict, or you can at least retrace your footsteps and know where the workout went wrong. It's not a surprise. It's not a surprise. I've got a free um, workout log. Just check out my bio. Find it for free. Send it to somebody that could use it.